Welcome to all the classic car enthusiasts. So the bit of video you will see, there's some small short clips or little video clips of basically an adjustment bar that I need to make for the steering on this to be able to test the chassis, to be able to drive the chassis and the engine around. And this is what you'll end up seeing, this here, and I'll explain. I'll show you how I've built it and then how it works actually on the car. So for those of you who are just looking in and thinking, what's this guy making? It looks a bit crazy. You'll understand where I am with it. But today I've had somebody working with me for a few hours, a guy that I know locally, and he's been doing a few hours with me. So we've fitted the exhaust onto this XK, put the shock absorbers on the back. You might see that there's some straps there, and the reason they're on is because obviously without the body it's very highly sprung, so we use the straps to pull it down, otherwise you cannot put the shock absorbers on and the exhaust fails. So I'll take you around and show you a few bits and pieces, so I hope you enjoy the video. Okay, so this is the first stage of the steering to adjust it in and out. So basically what I've done is, you can see here I've got this box section fits tolerance into another box section, and I've drilled these two holes here so that this piece here goes inside and I can weld it, and then I can tack weld it inside as well. Then this nut that I've welded and rounded and put on the front will go onto this back plate, which will go on the back here, and then the nut will be welded on there, so that will slide it backwards and forwards inside the other sheath, or inside the other box section. So I'm showing you this now because obviously I have to weld it, clean it up inside, weld it and put it together, and then I'll show you when it's... So this is the next step. What I'll do now is I'll drill a hole here and weld a nut to it, and then I can use that as the lockdown clamp for the extension as it goes forward, so you can see it. As the extension goes backwards and forwards, so it'll go from, this is 18 centimeters to 31 centimeters in total. You can see, I'll cut this out so you can see it. So I'm trying to do it go around. You can see what I did was I actually welded there, and then because it was inside I could get the nozzle of the MIG welder inside and did it inside. So that's just got a round edge that can move freely. And then this cap will now have a hole in it for the rod, and then this is welded on the inside, and there will be a third nut here which I can use. I'll put a T-bar on the end here and then use this as a lock-off nut so it can't move backwards or forwards. So that's the principle. So as I said, it slides pretty nicely now. I can't even grease it up if I wanted to, but there isn't really any reason. So that'll be the first part of the steering, to be able to adjust it. So what I'm thinking now is that we'll have movement in and out on the bracket, movement in and out on the steering shaft, left and right movement of the whole shaft, which you can never see, and up and down movement as well. So you actually have 4 planes you could move it on, even though the extension of the steering shaft is normal on cars, and a little bit of movement up and down. We'll end up with 4 movements, because what I'm going to do now is make a block which slides backwards and forwards with this in it, so I can move from left to right of the steering position, just in case I don't want to put it somewhere and then it doesn't operate well. I want to be able to move it around. Okay, so this is it's all welded up now. This is just basically a stop bolt for once it's out. I'll just take this out so you can see it. I'll just have a T-bar on it, and basically you can see there's the graduations on it as I turn it out. Hang on. It's a bit hard to do it with one hand. Okay. I'm basically, hang on, I'm turning the end. You can see how the graduations come out. I've only put them on to show it moving, that's basically all. And this now goes from 18 centimeters to 31 centimeters, so it gives me a lot to play with for the steering. I'll show you, for those of you who are not sure what I'm actually up to, I'll show you it when I've got all the other parts done. Hopefully tomorrow. You can see the graduations there. It's just a matter of screwing it. So like I say, it goes from 18 centimeters in the body to 31 in total. And please, Doug, Piper Doug, no sexual jokes. I know it's just your kind of material. The extension, oh, I love the extension. I can hear it now. Anyway, so yeah, that's it. And then I'll put a little small T-bar on there just to nip it off when it's in. So that's how it works. Yeah, really not a lot to it. The tolerance is not perfect, but it's good enough. So I'll show you the rest in the next day or two. Okay, so to show you how this part actually will work, is just give you a quick demonstration. The idea is that obviously this is not exactly built as the car is, so I've had to just make a frame up. So the idea now is there will be a bar of the same thickness, or sorry, not a bar, a box section put across here, and inside there I will make a slide with a pivot inside it, and the idea of that slide is it'll be able to go backwards and forwards so I can get the steering in the right position. Then this will go inside it. So the idea of this is that I can extend this in and out. There will be a bracket on the end here, a long bracket with two elongated holes which will fit in here. So that means the steering can go up and down. It can go in and out. The steering itself inside the shaft for a 1958 car was quite remarkable. It's a normal thing these days for steering to move in and out and up and down. But in 1958 they even had it. You just turn this nut and you could move it 6 or 7 inches. So you're better to move it out that way. I can move the column out. I can better move it left and right and up and down. So it'll be on 4 different planes, and that's where it will fit inside here. That's where it's going to go. Okay, just to finish up, this is the electronic ignition I have. This is the second one, which will be going into Johan's car. This one is obviously in, you heard it running. This is 1, 2, 3. And the other good news is I talked to, I'll bring the camera around a little bit. I talked to Johan about these SU carburetors, which we have. They're second hand, like I'd said, and he was asking me about the 45 DCO E Weber. The ones that they're selling are actually side draft, and the normal ones are down draft, but these are side draft. And I explained to him that really there's no advantage. These carburetors are better. Not only the original, they don't go through the kind of fuel the Webers do. Webers are very difficult to keep balanced. Once these are set up, they're pretty much right on the money. I have a balancer, of course. And just the maintenance and so on, the fuel consumption, the noise and so on. So he's decided we will rebuild his second-hand carburetors and put them on the same way. Fitted the exhaust onto this one. It's not completely fitted in. That's just some, and obviously the same on that one over there. And as I said, I've put these straps on it. They're tie-down straps for a trailer, and it just brings the whole thing down because there's no weight of the body, because the body's quite heavy on that. Yeah, and oh yeah, we did the clamps on the front. They're still loose because obviously they're going to have to be adjusted for the tracking. The other thing we did as well was set up the timing. I don't know if I can get these off with one hand or not. Oh yeah, and you can see this is let's see if I can get this one off as well. Just have to be a little bit. I have to get them just. Oh yeah, got it. So you can see on an XK engine you've got an inlet bank and an exhaust bank. And you can see obviously it's a TDC because of where the cam is there. And obviously the spark plug has been checking it as well, and checking it on the timing mark on the pulley. One thing I'm not happy about, this engine was built by somebody else, and that lock wire is rubbish. Whoever put that on is, you know, really needs to be retrained. That is awful, that lock wire for those camshafts. I'll redo this so that you can see the proper way it's supposed to be done. The way it should be done is you loop it through, you then coil it and then put it through again, but I'll redo it. And it's obviously to stop the bolts backing out, but that's bullshit. Anyway, it is what it is. This is what happens when you farm stuff out, I guess. You're at somebody else's mercy. Anyway, a very quick one. These engines are very similar to the Mini, and what you can do is you can take out your drive here. You can actually put a bolt in there, lift it up, and it's got a helical gear on it. So if you're having trouble where your distributor is, you can always put the nut in, or sorry, put the bolt in, lift it and turn it slightly if you want to get, because they're offset in the bottom of there. Maybe you can see it, maybe you can't, you probably won't. Anyway, it's offset for the gearing on the bottom of the distributor, and what you can do is just lift it up and turn it a couple of cogs, and it'll drop back in again. If you're having trouble, you know, if the distributor body or the vacuum's hitting in the wrong position, so it's easy enough to do that. So there's another job been done today. This is the bottom drive shaft, you can see, and this is one that hasn't been done, so you can see the difference in them. Obviously I'll replace all these, and there's a drive donut that goes behind them there. You can see this one's come apart, and this one, that's the other one there. So I'll order some of that. I mean, 14 quid, it's not like pissing around for 14 quid for steering. So yeah, so that's it. I'll crack on tomorrow with this drive system, and put the bar in and everything, so we'll see how it goes from there. So as usual, stay safe, keep the faith, enjoy your hobby.